welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make shrimp FRA diavolo. It's super yummy, so please stay tuned and let me show you how. So you want to begin with your washed and deveined shrimpies. I went ahead and seasoned mine with 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, some kosher salt, which is my favorite salt to use, and some freshly cracked black pepper. You want to be mindful of how much red pepper flakes you're using because it can get pretty spicy. And in a large pan on medium-high heat, what I did was just sear the shrimp on both sides. Now I did buy the shrimp with the shell on. I went ahead and I took off the shells, rinsed them in cold water, and added them to a small pot of water with some parsley, salt, and whole peppercorns. That is going to be our seafood stock that we will be using later on. So I do have that on the side cooking for about 20 to 30 minutes. And for your shrimpies, you just want to go ahead and make sure that they're seasoned on both sides. And you just want to cook them for about 2 to 3 minutes. All you're trying to do is just get a good sear on both sides, and that is going to give you the best texture. I'm really big on texture when it comes to shrimp. So I just like them to be firm on the sides and soft and plump in the middle. So make sure that they do not cook all the way, since they will finish cooking in your sauce. And I always like to cook my shrimp in batches. When you throw them all in, you will notice that they steam, they get really tiny, and they are pretty mushy. They're just not as good. So go ahead and take your time, cook them in batches, and I promise you it is worth taking that extra step, especially if you're splurging on, these beautiful large shrimpies here. So go ahead and just cook them again on both sides and in batches. And here's my seafood stock. Again, just parsley, peppercorns, a little bit of salt, and that is cooking away while we cook our shrimp. And yeah, you guys add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Then you can cook about half a diced yellow onion. If you have shallots, you can use that as well. I always like to add a little bit of kosher salt to my onions. I do believe it helps them cook a little bit faster. So after 3 to 5 minutes, you already know, the star of all of my shows, garlic. I added, you want to add 4 to 6 cloves, or in my case, just measure with whatever your heart desires. My heart desires about at least 8. And yeah, once you can smell the garlic, it is done, you guys. Then you can move on to your next step, which is to add in your seasoning. I added 1 teaspoon full of crushed red pepper flakes. Now you want to be mindful. If you want to start with half, you can go ahead and do so. You can always add more towards the end. This dish is meant to be spicy. The name says it all. Brother devil. But yeah, just be mindful, because you can always add more, but you cannot take some out. And then I added a little bit of white wine just because it does intensify all the flavors. After the wine cooked down, I added in my seafood stock, which was perfectly ready at this time. And yeah, you guys, you want to go ahead. I used about 2 cups of that, and just bring it to a boil. And then you can add in your peeled whole tomatoes. I like to use San Marzano because those are the best. They just give a certain sweetness that I just absolutely love. And yeah, you want to always let your tomatoes soften before you try to mash them. But during this time, you want to also add in some flavor. So go ahead and season with, I added oregano. You can also use Italian seasoning or whatever you have on hand. I added a tiny pinch of salt. And also, of course, I like to add freshly squeezed lemon. I added 1 whole lemon for this. I just think it complements the spiciness of this dish really nicely, and I just love those 2 flavors combined. Give that a good mix, and yeah, you guys, you want to go ahead and cook this on medium to high heat. Cover it up for about 4 to 5 minutes. Let the tomatoes soften, and then you can go in with your potato masher. Now if you have an immersion blender, you can go ahead and use that, or if you like a really smooth sauce, you can go ahead and take the additional step of transferring this to your blender and then putting it back in. Although you want to be careful that your blender can handle the heat, because if it is a glass blender and if it's an older model, it could break. So just be mindful of that. And yeah, give it a good mash. I like my sauce a little bit rustic, and I gave it a taste. That way you can adjust your seasonings, add a little bit of salt if you need it, some freshly cracked black pepper. In my opinion, I always add freshly cracked black pepper, and I wanted mine extra spicy because why not? The name says it all. So I added a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes and some additional lemon, because like I said, those flavors just play really well together. I gave this a good mix, and I just allowed it to simmer for a few minutes, let those flavors intensify while I toasted my baguette with just some extra virgin olive oil. Yeah, after about 5 minutes, I tossed the shrimp back in and allowed them to finish cooking in the sauce. And yeah, you guys, this is a quick and easy. I like to serve this as an appetizer, but I mean, you can add pasta to this and it could be the main course. Super delicious, and it's super yummy. If you try it, I know you're absolutely gonna love it. It's definitely up there with one of my favorite things to make or to eat and to introduce others to, just because it's just so yummy. It doesn't take that much time, and it's just a big crowd pleaser. You want to top this off with your fresh parsley. That's gonna bring in some freshness to all of the seafood. And yeah, you guys, go ahead and serve this with your delicious bread. So we're at the end, and I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.